Because I can promise you, when you leave your job, if that's your goal, that your life is not going to magically get better. Period. It's absolutely not going to get better magically. The things will change, but you will still have things that you'll have to work out. But this stuff that I'm talking about is the real stuff that actually creates freedom. This is
the How to Quit Working Show. Jeff Steinman believes entrepreneurship is the only true path to freedom. That's why he created the How to Quit Working Show, where you'll hear stories, insights, and inspiration from lifestyle fanatics who left their soul-sucking 9-to-5 job forever. Now, here's your host, author, entrepreneur, and ultimate lifestyle fanatic, Jeff Steinman.
Hello and welcome to the How to Quit Working Show. I am excited to talk to you today about the whole idea of actually integrating the stuff that you learn into your life, because it's really pointless to learn concepts without integrating them in your life. And I want to talk a little bit about my experience and how that has worked for me, and share some insights that I think will be super helpful for you on your journey to become the most amazing person that you can possibly be. And speaking of becoming an amazing person, over in the How to Quit Working Circle, we have a whole bunch of people who are really, really amazing. I love talking to and interacting with and being around a really cool group of inspiring people. And you can also be around those cool people if you go over to howtoquitworking.com/circle and enter your information, because then you're going to get signed up to be part of our inner circle for How to Quit Working. And that is where we have a private Facebook group. We have some regular training that you'll receive, and also special offers and fun things that I send out only to Circle members. And by the way, it doesn't cost you a dime. So just go over to howtoquitworking.com/circle and get yourself into the How to Quit Working Circle. I look forward to seeing you there. And now let's talk a little bit about this idea of sort of integrating the concepts and the things that you learn in your life. I was inspired to do this episode because I, for some reason, a couple weeks ago, was looking through my old journal entries. I have been journaling very faithfully for since probably about 2013. I've journaled off and on prior to then, but have been very serious and faithful about it ever since then. And I was looking at some of my old journal entries, and I think what's so fascinating is that the way the concepts that I was talking about and the way that I was thinking about things and talking about things was not all that different back in 2013 than it is now. And my life here in 2016 is much better. I am much, much happier. I am much more at peace with the world and at peace with my life, and able to get up every day and really be happy and excited to start the day. But as I said, when I looked back at those journal entries from 2013, the way that I thought about things and talked about things isn't really that different than it is now. So I got to thinking about, okay, what is different? What is, why am I happier and more financially prosperous and just more at peace now than I was then, even though I was thinking very similar to how I do now? And what I realized was that it was all about integration of the ideas. It was that was a time when I had studied a lot of these ideas and concepts, and I had bought into them. So I was I very much believed in the ideas, but I hadn't yet fully integrated. Well, I shouldn't say fully, because you never fully integrate anything. But I hadn't integrated the ideas adequately to get results. In other words, I was bought into these ideas and concepts, but I hadn't really practiced them enough. I had some, but not enough. And I think that's really the point that I want to drive home here on this episode, is that getting to a place of happiness and peace and success, whatever that is for you, isn't something that happens quickly, right? I mean, we all know that. We all know it takes time. But I think that the realization that I had was all these ideas that you're learning, because if you're listening to this, you're probably pretty into this stuff. You're probably listening to podcasts and you're probably reading books and watching videos and whatnot, and you're trying to become a better person. And you're understanding the ideas, but the question is, are you really putting them into practice? And in many cases, you're probably not. And I think that there's really two things that end up happening there. There's number one, there's the whole thought and the whole situation of, well, we just learn things and we study them and we believe them and we buy into them and we say that sounds great, and then we go on our merry way and keep doing things how we used to. I do that all the time. I'm not pointing fingers there. It's just kind of how human beings are. The other thing I think that we do is that we move forward and we try to implement things and then we quit, right? So we will try something, like if somebody says, oh, maybe you should meditate on a regular basis. Well, we're like, oh yeah, that sounds good. I've seen the science behind it. It makes sense. I even have friends who've done it and they've said it's great. So I'm totally bought into it, but am I going to actually do it? And the answer is maybe yes for a couple of days or weeks or even months, but then we slide back. We slide back to our old habits of not actually doing those things. And I think that the thing that I want to, so much of the stuff that's out there talks about just, you just have to do it. You have to push through. You have to be disciplined. You got to have a routine and all this stuff. And that's all. I mean, there's, that's good stuff, I guess. But I think that you have to really understand why you're doing things in order to actually have the motivation to continue doing them. And I think that that's one of the things that I really want to bring out in How to Quit Working and the new How to Quit Living platform is really just this whole idea that, when you practice these things and you are committed to them, some really amazing things happen. And it's not about making lots of money. I mean, that can be the result. But I think that we need to talk more about the intrinsic peace and happiness and joy and satisfaction that you can experience when you really put these things into practice without necessarily even needing any outside external things to happen. So, the thing that I think bothers me about so much of the stuff that's out there that says, all successful people meditate, or all successful people have a daily routine, or whatever kind of, success crap you're reading or studying. The problem is that the result that stuff promises tends to be money and wealth. And money and wealth are great, but they really, really, really pale in comparison to true inner peace and happiness. And I firmly believe that inner peace and happiness and joy, and being able to derive that without relying on any particular external circumstances to get you there, is really what freedom is all about. There's a lot of belief that money is what creates freedom, and it's not. What creates freedom is being able to feel good without relying on the world around you to be any specific way in order for you to feel good. So being able to just be completely okay with some nasty financial thing that has happened to you, or being able to be completely okay with some personal relationship that has gone sour. And that doesn't mean that you don't like things. It doesn't mean that you don't enjoy things. It doesn't mean you don't appreciate things. It means that you do not rely on these things that are outside of you, that you do not have complete control of, in order to feel good, right? And I think that what has gotten me to a point, a certain level of mastery of that, and I don't claim to have, reached any kind of nirvana, but I have made massive progress in that arena, and I do live a life every single day that is the product of having done a lot, of having done a lot of work to get to a point where I can remain feeling a certain way, of feeling good without depending on things happening or not happening around me. So, and that will be a continuing journey for me as long as there's breath in my body. I'll be continuing to figure out how to make that happen, and how to make more additional strides in that arena. But the point that I want to bring home on this episode is that you don't get there without practicing. You don't get there just from studying and learning the concepts. You get there from doing them over and over and over and over. So when I was looking at those journal entries from 2013, and I was saying, well, why is it different now than it was back then? And there's no doubt about it. It's years and years of practice. It's that I have been practicing these things over and over and over and over for freaking years. Not for like 1, 2, 3, 4, but like 4 years, for many, many years. And I really began to. I remember probably in high school to have this sort of feeling that relying on external circumstances was never, ever, ever, ever going to be the way to find happiness. Ever. And it's taken me a really, really long time. and when I began to make really big, scary changes in my life was 2012, when I left my job. And really what that did in many ways was and there's a whole lot of things that came out of that, which, I talk about on the show and I'll continue to do. But really, that's when I was able to make major changes in my life that allowed me to practice these things that I knew that I needed to practice more and more and more. And again, you don't have to be in any certain circumstance to practice these things. In other words, if you have a job, you can absolutely practice these things while you're working your job. And in fact, that's a great exercise to do. Because I can promise you, when you leave your job, if that's your goal, that your life is not going to magically get better. Period. It's absolutely not going to get better magically. The things will change, but you will still have things that you'll have to work out. But this stuff that I'm talking about is the real stuff that actually creates freedom. This is, as you've noticed, I'm sure if you've been listening to the show for a while, you've noticed a real shift in how the things that I'm talking about and the concepts that I'm bringing to you. And it's really because I've redefined for myself what freedom really means, right? Freedom for me is no longer about money, or about not working, or about having this or not having that, or being able to travel, or any of that crap, control of my schedule. It's not about any of that. It's about not letting my outside circumstances, not letting the things that are going on in the world outside of me and around me affect how I feel. That is a journey that I have made a lot of progress on. I have a ton more to go, and I can't think of any more valuable thing to spend time and effort on than continuing to do that. But my point in this video or this podcast, whichever you're listening to, that I want to drive home is that you have to practice it, and you have to keep doing the things that you know that you need to do. You have to keep integrating these concepts into your life, even though you're not seeing results. If you meditate for 3 months, which I'm a huge advocate of meditation, but I can tell you, if you meditate for 3 months, you're probably not going to get any results out of it. If you might not even get any results meditating for a year. It's something that you have to continue to do over and over and over and over. And I just use meditating as one example because I know that you're studying a lot of things and you're learning about a lot of things that you know will help you to live a better and happier life. And you just have to keep at them, and you have to keep practicing and practicing and practicing because and do it because I want you to experience what true freedom really is, because my gosh, it really is wonderful. If you want to learn more about these concepts, I have been talking more about them in the new platform that I'm calling How to Start Living. So go over to howtostartliving.com and get more information about how to start living and more information like this. I look forward to seeing you in How to Start Living, and I look forward to seeing you then next time on the How to Quit Working Show.
Thanks for joining us on the How to Quit Working Show. Tune in next time when we'll talk to another amazing person just like you who is now living the ultimate life of freedom and doing it on their terms. If you want to learn how to quit working and get these episodes delivered directly to you, visit howtoquitworkingshow.com.